Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Mandir, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Notice, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari are looking more splendid every single day. An impossible feat, and yet, by the power of making the impossible possible, we are testing you now. What is that called in Sanskrit? What is the proper name of that Shakti? I think Kishori Mohan Didi might get that one right.
So will Devaki.
And Devaki and Jiva Pavana Prabhu and so many. But somehow, they just appear more splendid every single day. So, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Pati Pavana Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Harinam Sankirtana ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So I don't normally start off with questions, but I just received the question of all questions. We call it the mother of all questions, from a very, very experienced, extremely knowledgeable preacher, devotee, who knows thousands of verses, and he's asking me about the series of manifestations from Krishna to Baladev to Mūla Sankarshan, through all the way through Mahavishnu to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And I was like, he's not asking me a question, he's testing me. So I get a bit of my own medicine. Or as they say, doctor, heal thyself. So that's why I was in question mode. So, as you notice, Thakurji has a carpet of golden. It brilliantly brightens them up, or they brilliantly brighten the carpet up. So today we will begin, as every day, with Mangalacharan, the auspicious invocation, calling out for the mercy, the grace, the blessings, and the sidelong glances of our Gurudev, our Srila Prabhupada, all of our Gurus and our Guru Varga, going all the way back to the original Guru, who is Krishna himself, and his Prem Guru, Srimati Radhika. Radhikar Prema Guru.
Ami Shishyanata.
Ami Shishyanata. Not. Nata means Lord. And no, she said it right. And Nata, Natavara Nagaranda means dancer. Barhapidam Natavara Vapu Karnaya Karnikaram. The best of dancers. So, her prem makes him dance various novel dances. So we will begin with Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam. Jiva Pavana Prabhu has already posted it here. And that is page 1 of this Shri Gaudiya Giti Guccha. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagano Raghunatham Vitam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagano Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitangscha Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Shri Krishna Leela Katane Sudaksham Audarya Madhurya Gunashcha Yuktam Varam Varinyam Purusham Mahantam Nārayaṇam Tvam Shirasam Namāmi Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Bādājayataika Hridye Chaitanya Leela Amrita Sarasaram Nārayaṇam Tvam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaura Preshthaya Bhutale Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Pragnyanam Keshava Yitni Namine Ati Martya Charitraya Svashritanam Chapaline Jiva Dukhe Sagartaya Shri Nama Premadayine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dayitaya Kripabhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudhapa Siddhanta Dvantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambhara Sambodhe Padam Bhujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidanandanamine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugambarayate Gaura Virbhava Nirdeshta Sajana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jaganathayate Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantho Radha Kantho Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jayatam Suratopam Mama Mandam Matirgati Matsarvasva Padam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyat Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadam Śrīmad Ratnagara Sinhasanastho Shri Śrī Radha Śrīla Govinda Devo Presthani Visevyamanus Smarami Śrīmandra Sarasaram Tvam Shivatattatastitaha Karshannenu svanargopi Gopinath Shri Visnunah Vrindaye tulasi devyai Priyaye keshavasya cha Krishna bhakti prade devi Satyavatyai namo namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupasvarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahādāvagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhum Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritashvadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Harer Nama Harer Nama Eva Kevalam Halo Nastyeva 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 Gatiranyatha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Dandavat Pranama Vaishnavas. Sudevi, can you find out who's banging on the roof? Okay. Now we will call out for the mercy and grace, benevolence and sidelong glance of Shri Guru. Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya, page 32 by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koro e dase Trinape Khayoti no Kripa Bindu Diya Koro e dase Trinape Khayoti Sakala sahane balladiya koro nijamane sprihahino Sakala sahane balladiya koro nijamane sprihahino Kripa Bindu Diya koro e dase trinapekayoti kripa bindu diya koro e dase trinapekayoti sakale soma korite shakati dehonatha jatha jatha sakale soma korite shakati dehonatha jatha jatha tabe to gahibo hari naam sukhe aparadha have hata tabe to gahibo hari naam sukhe aparadha have hata o kripa bindu diya koro e dase trinapekayoti kripa bindu diya koro e dase trinapekayoti kabe hero kripa lobhiya e jano kritarto hoibe natho kabe hero kripa lobhiya e jano kritarto hoibe natho shakti buddhi ami oti din koro more atmo satho shakti buddhi nami oti din koro more atmo satho gurudev kripa bindu diya koro e dase trinapekayoti kripa bindu diya koro e dase trinapekayoti yogyata vichare kichu nahi paai tomaro karuna saro yogyata vichare kichu nahi paai tomaro karuna saro karuna na hoile kadiya kadiya prano na rakhimo aro karuna na hoile kadiya kadiya prano na rakhimo aro o kripa bindu diya koro e dase trinapekayoti gurudev kripa bindu diya koro e dase trinapekayoti gurudeva 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 jaya gurudeva jaya gurudeva jaya gurudeva jaya Dev ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Guru Parampara ki jai. Now we will call out for the mercy, for the grace of the Vaishnavas. Thakura Vaishnavagana Kori E Nivedana. Page 43 by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Thakura Vaishnava Gana. Dandava Pranama Vaishnavas. Thakura Vaishnavagana Koriye Nivedana. Thakura Vaishnavagana Koriye Nivedana. Mobaro Daruno sangsaro nidhi taheru bailo vidhi. Daruno sangsaro nidhi taheru bailo vidhi. Keshe dhori Nashune dharam gyan vidhi baro balavan. Nashune dharam gyan sodai karmo pashe bandhe. Sodai karmo pashe bandhe. Na dekhi tarono lesho jato dekhi sab klesho. 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 Onato ka tarete kande. Onato ka tarete kande. Onato ka tarete kande. modoyo bhimano soho apono yapono sthane tane apono yapono sthane tane oi chono yamaro mon hire jeno yandha jan oi chono yamaro mon hire jeno yandha jan supatho vipatho nahi jane supatho vipatho nahi jane nalo inu satomoto asate mo jino cheto nalo inu satomoto asate mo jino cheto tu apaye na korinu asho tu apaye na korinu asho narottamo dase ko দেখি শুনি লাগে ভয় নরোত্তম দাসে কো দেখি শুনি লাগে ভয় তরাইয়া লোহ নিজ পাশ তরাইয়া লোহ নিজ পাশ তরাইয়া লোহ নিজ পাশ তরাইয়া লোহ নিজ পাশ বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর প্রভু কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো 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 all Vaishnava Thakurs ki jai. So remember yesterday I told you we discovered a new bhajan from Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur's Shikshashtakam prayers, but he's referencing there Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī. I think it starts with Ha Śrī Rupa Gosai. It's not the original Shikshashtakam prayers, but it is the prayers that maybe it's Upadeshamrita. Oh, it's Upadeshamritam. Where did Ha Śrī Rupa Gosai? Let me just see here. Hari He Śrī Rupa Gosai, page 199 in our songbook. Bhajan Treasure Trove, sorry. Hari He, Śrī Rupa Gośai. There are lots of Hari He's, so hopefully we find it quickly. It's based on the 8th verse of Śrī Upadeshamrita by Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī, and this bhajan is by Śrīla Bhaktivedānta. O Hari, Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī in the form of Śrī Guru whispered this advice into my ear. Understand my words, O beggar of Nam, and you will attain rati, affection for chanting the name. Very carefully engage your tongue and mind in Sri Krishna's name, form, attributes, and pastimes, in accordance with the gradual method given in the scriptures. Residing in Braj as a Raganuga Bhakta, engage in Smaran and Kirtan of the Lord. Indeed, spend all of your time in this way. Accept this as the essence of all instruction. Alas, O Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī, when will you mercifully bestow residence in Braj upon this wretched soul? You are Ragatmika, and the wish of this servant is to follow in your footsteps. Beautiful bhajan. So it is based on the 8th verse of Upadeshamrita with Bhaktivedānta Thakur's prayer directly to Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī on his own behalf and on all of our behalf, included within it. Okay. Hari He, Śrī Rupa Gośai, Śrī Guru Rupete, Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Hari He, Śrī Rupa Gośai, Śrī Guru Rupete, Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Jano Moro Katha, Namero Kangano, Rati Pabe Namo Gane. Jano Moro Katha, Namero Kangano, Rati Pabe Namo Gane. Śrī Rupa Gośai, Śrī Guru Rupete, Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Hari He, Śrī Rupa Gośai, Śrī Guru Rupete, Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Krishna Namo Rupa Guna Sucharita Paramo Jatane Kori. Krishna Namo Rupa Guna Sucharita Paramo Jatane Kori. Rasana Manase Karoho Nijo, Rasana Manase Karoho Nijo, Krama Vidhi Anusari, Krama Vidhi Anusari. Hari He, Śrī Rupa Gośai, Śrī Guru Rupete, Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Hari He, Śrī Rupa Gośai, Śrī Guru Rupete, Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Braje Korivas Raganuga Hoya, Smarono Kirtono Koro. Braje Korivas Raganuga Hoya, Smarono Kirtono করো যাপন উপদেশ সারো ধরো উপদেশ সারো ধরো হরি হে শ্রী রূপ গোসাই শ্রী গুরু রূপেতে শিক্ষা দিলাম মোর কানে হরি হে শ্রী রূপ গোসাই শ্রী গুরু রূপেতে শিক্ষা দিলাম মোর কানে আরূপ গোসাই দয়া করি কবে দিবে দিনে ব্রজবাসা হারূপ গোসাই দয়া করি কবে দিবে দিনে ব্রজবাসা রাগাত্মিক তুমি তব পদানুগ রাগাত্মিক তুমি তব পদানুগ হইতে দাসের আশা হইতে দাসের আশা হরি হে শ্রী রূপ গোসাই শ্রী গুরু রূপেতে শিক্ষা দিলাম মোর কানে হরি হে শ্রী রূপ গোসাই শ্রী গুরু রূপেতে শিক্ষা দিলাম মোর কানে ও জনমোর কথা নামের কাঙ্গালো রতি পাবে নাম গানে জানো মোর কথা নামের কাঙ্গালো রতি পাবে নাম গানে শ্রী রূপ গোসাই শ্রী গুরু রূপেতে শিক্ষা দিলাম মোর কানে হরি হে শ্রী রূপ গোসাই শ্রী গুরু রূপেতে শিক্ষা দিলাম মোর কানে রূপ গোস্বামী প্রভু রূপ গোস্বামী 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 প্রভু হে 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 श्री रूप गोस्वामी पाद की जय श्री सद गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय श्री रूपानुग गौरी गुरुवर्ग की जय That was my first time ever singing this bhajan. It's very beautiful and I look forward to singing it again much more frequently. Now we will call for the mercy of Pati Pavana Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. Pati Pavana Śrī Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. It has been a while since we sang Ananda Kanda Nitai Chanda. Page 62 by Radha Vallabha Das. Anand. First, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ananda Kanda Nitai Chanda Aruna Nayana Karuna Chanda Ananda Kanda Nitai Chanda Aruna Nayana Karuna Chanda Karuna Pura Saghane Jhura Karuna Pura Saghane Jhura Hari Hari Dhvani Bolare Hari Hari Dhvani Bolare Hari Hari Dhvani Bolare Hari Hari Dhvani Bolare Nataka Ranga Bhakata Sangha Nataka Ranga Bhakata Sangha Vividha Bhasho Rasata Ranga Nataka Ranga Bhakata Sangha Vividha Bhasho Rasataranga Ishatahaso Madhura Bhasho Ishatahaso Madhura Bhasho सघने गीमा डोलरे सघने गीमा डोलरे सघने गीमा डोलरे सघने गीमा डोलरे पतित गौर जपत गौर पतित गौर जपत गौर दीन रजनी आनंद भोर पतित गौर जपत गौर दीन रजनी आनंद भोर प्रेम रतन करिया जतन प्रेम रतन करिया जतन जग जने करु दान रे 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 कीर्तन माझो रसिक राज कीर्तन माझो रसिक राज जय छन कन्हैया गिरि विराज कीर्तन माझो रसिक राज जय छन कन्हैया गिरि विराज ब्रज बिहारो रस बिथारो ब्रज बिहारो रस बिथारो मधुर मधुर गान रे मधुर मधुर गान रे मधुर मधुर गान रे मधुर मधुर गान रे धूली धूसरो धरणी ऊपर धूली धूसरो धरणी ऊपर कबहू लूटत प्रेमे गर गर धूली धूसरो धरणी ऊपर कबहू लूटत प्रेमे गर गर कबहू चलत कबहू केलत कबहू चलत कबहू केलत कबहू आत आसरे कबहू आत आसरे कबहू आत आसरे कबहू आत आसरे कबहू से दो कबहू खेलो कबहू से दो कबहू खेलो कबहू पूरक स्वर विभेद कबहू से दो कबहू खेलो कबहू पूरक स्वर विभेद कबहू लम्फ कबहू झम्प कबहु झंप कबहु दीर्घ श्वास रे कबहु दीर्घ श्वास रे कबहु दीर्घ श्वास रे कबहु दीर्घ श्वास रे करुणा सिंधु अखिल बंधु करुणा सिंधु अखिल बंधु कलिजुग तम पुराण इंदु करुणा सिंधु अखिल बंधु कलिजुग तम पुराण इंदु जगत लोचन पटल मोचन जगत लोचन पटल मोचन निताय पुरलो आशरे निताय पुरलो आशरे निताय पुरलो आशरे निताय पुरलो आशरे अंधय धम दीन दूर जन अंधय धम दीन दूर जन प्रेम दाने करलो मोचन अंध अधम दीन दूर जन प्रेम दाने करलो मोचन पावल जगत केवल वंचित पावल जगत केवल वंचित ए राधा वल्लभ दास रे 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 आनंद कंद निताय चंद करुण नयन करुण चंद आनंद कंद निताय चंद अरुण नयन करुण चंद ओ नित्यानंद राम जय नित्यानंद राम नित्यानंद राम जय नित्यानंद राम जय नित्यानंद राम नित्यानंद राम नित्यानंद राम जय नित्यानंद राम निताय हे 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 पतित पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। दंडवत प्रणाम वैष्णव। Gai Gora Madhur Sware. Look, there's another Nitai bhajan also. But I don't know how to sing it. I'll have to ask Madhukar. Nitai ki naam ene chere. But Gai Gora Madhur Sware, page 69 by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. In a very sweet voice, Sri Gauranga sings Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. 169. Not 69, 169. Centa, 69. Hinam Gai Gora Madhur Sware. Gai Gora Madhur Sware. Gai Gora Madhur Sware. Gai Gora Madhur Sware. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gai Gora Madhur Sware. Gai Gora Madhur Sware. Grihe thako, bone thako, soda hari bole rako. Grihe thako, bone thako, soda hari bole rako. Sukhe dukhe bhulo nako, badone hari naam koro re. Jai. Sukhe dukhe bhulo nako, badone hari naam koro re. Gai Gora Madhur Sware. Gai Gora Madhur Sware. Maya jale badho hoye, acho biche kajolo ye. Maya jale badho hoye, acho biche kajolo ye. Ekhono chetan peye, Radha Madhav naam bolo re. Ekhono chetan peye, Radha Madhav naam bolo re. Gai Gora Madhur Sware. গায় গোরা মধুর স্বরে জীবন হইল শেষ না ভজিলে ঋষিকেশ জীবন হইল শেষ না ভজিলে ঋষিকেশ ভক্তি বিনু এই উপদেশ একবার নাম রসে মাতরে ভক্তি বিনু এই উপদেশ একবার নাম রসে মাতরে গায় গোরা মধুর স্বরে গায় গোরা মধুর স্বরে হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে গায় গোরা মধুর স্বরে গায় গোরা মধুর স্বরে নাম গায় গোরা মধুর স্বরে গায় গোরা মধুর স্বরে সচিনন্দন গৌর হরি জয় সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি জয় সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি জয় সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি গৌর হে গৌর হে গৌর হে গৌর হে গৌর হে গৌর হে प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम सचिनंदन गौर हरि की जय। Today is a comfortable 95 degrees Fahrenheit here. We're still depending on the fans to keep us cool. Now we will call the mercy, the blessings of Krishna. Jaya Jaya Sundara Nanda Kumar by Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī Pad, page 344. Jaya Jaya Sundar Nanda Kumar. Jaya Jaya Sundaro 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 Nanda Kumar. Nanda Kumar. Nanda Kumar. Nanda Kumar. Nanda Kumar. Jaya Jaya Sundaro Nanda Kumar. Jaya Jaya Sundaro Nanda Kumar. Saurabha Sankata Vrindavano Tato. Saurabha Sankata Vrindavano Tato. Vihita Vasanta Vihar. Vihita Vasanta Vihar. Jaya Jaya Sundaro Nanda Kumar. Jaya Jaya Sundaro Nanda Kumar. Abhinava Kutmanam Mucha Samujvala. Abhinava Kutmanam Mucha Samujvala. Kunchita Kuntalo Bhar. Kunchita Kuntalo Bhar. Pranayi Janerito Chandano Sahakrito. Pranayi Janerito नंदन यशोदानंदन की जय। कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय। I see a conversation going on here. In the beginning of the movement, Srila Prabhupada had all of his disciples giving classes. The men, the ladies, and unlike how it is in most temples now, back in the day it was men on half, ladies on the half. Now it's ladies in the back, men in the front. And you can listen to the, I guess now it's digital, but the recordings of Prabhupada in India when he first brought his dancing white elephants, as he called them, and he was having Yamuna Devi lead kirtan from the main stage in front of thousands of people. So Srila Prabhupada was not at all shy about utilizing whatever he had in the service of Krishna, and he did not discriminate between who is qualified or who is not. In other words, you're not qualified because of your race or your sex or this or that or anything else, or your birth or whatever religion you were born into. He did not discriminate. He only wanted everyone to be inspired in Krishna Bhakti and to dance for Krishna. Also our Srila Gurudev, he also gave so much inspiration and strength for his daughters. He would even say publicly that he has more affection for his daughters than his sons. And then he would encourage them to get up and preach, to sing, to be bold. He would give so much emphasis there, not just to be quiet and shy and in the background, but rather to become very bold like lions, roaring very loudly in support of and in defense of the pure teachings of Krishna Bhakti, the pure teachings of Mahaprabhu, the pure teachings of Guru Sadhu and Shastra, in opposition to all kinds of nonsense. And Srila Prabhupada even made room for little children. We know because we were those kids. They parted the sea of sannyasis in orange, and all of the ladies would take turns, sometimes coming 3 or 4 times forward. Ladies would grab any baby and go up, and then they would grab the next baby and go up, like that. Or if they needed a chance to go close to Srila Prabhupada, they would grab any child, and Sudevi and I received cookies from Srila Prabhupada many times. But he was making sure to give something sweet, something nice. We remember him as the cookie man. I mean, of course, since growing up with him and his teachings and also coming to our Gurudev, we have learned to appreciate him thousands of times more than that. But from that time, how can you forget that person who's giving sweetness and a smile? He was giving us what we call Prabhupada cookies, the best cookies in the world. Basically, homemade butter shortbread from the hand of the pure devotee. And so he also made room to inspire the little ones who had no qualification, not even the qualification to eat the cookie on a lot of the occasions. They didn't even have teeth, but still, he wanted to give something sweet, something so that we would be attracted. And that was also the hope of his Gurukul system. And you can see it in his own words and his own writing. Be careful about over-disciplining. We want to make sure that whoever is there will be attracted and want to remain and continue within this process. Don't be so heavy that they want to run away. So Srila Prabhupada was very expert like this. Unfortunately, not everyone understood or was able to follow his mood properly, but that was his hope and his intention. What about the point about singing without being pure or free from anarthas? How to reconcile? Regarding Srila Prabhupada having Jamuna Devi sing or anyone else? If Sri Guru is giving an order and the disciple is following that order, Guru is the first form of Krishna in our lives, Guru Krishna. Krishna has manifested through that form. That's why they are called the transparent medium. And if they give that order, despite our disqualification, if we somehow endeavor to follow and serve, then through the form of Guru, Guru will accept that, will purify it, and increase our bhakti from that. Krishna has some pretty strong requirements. Guru also does, but Guru is the condensed form of the mercy and compassion of Krishna. Condensed form. So, Gurudev said that Guru is more than millions of mothers of this world. As many disqualifications as your baby might have, can't talk properly because it's a baby, can't control its bladder and its bowel functions, can't draw, can't preach, can't do kirtan, but still the parent sees the potential in that child and keeps with patience cultivating, helping that child to grow, giving all kinds of good nourishment, good examples, good advice, hoping for that child to grow into something mature, where one day that child will become mature enough to make the parent proud. And Srila Gurudev, our Guru Varga, also have this kind of mood. No. Mahaprabhu has instructed, Gurudev has explained, and Prabhupada has explained. Mahaprabhu has instructed, on my order, he says, become Guru. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to give initiation, but he says, wherever you go, whomever you meet, tell them about Krishna. So this means Vartma Pradarshika. Somehow give them something about Krishna and point them in the direction. Only if our character is very, what's the opposite of impeccable? Very nefarious. If we're doing all kinds of nonsense, simple activities, and at the same time trying or pretending or representing, then that can actually bring infamy or disgrace. Sorry.
Ramya Devi is saying that only if Guru instructs, then one should sing publicly. But when you go out to preach, when you go out to tell others about Krishna, whether it's through singing, whether it's through giving a book, whatever we can do, like Kishori Mohan was saying how Srila Prabhupada was giving a sweet, even though we weren't qualified to take it, we just knew it was sweet. If someone hears a voice that is sweet and calling out, meaning that we're trying to serve the mission of our Gurudev and our Guru Varg, not trying to bring anyone to myself, not trying to make myself the object of love and adoration, but to use whatever beauty, whatever talent, whatever we have in the service of Krishna. This is true renunciation. If you just renounce and say, well, I'm not going to sing unless absolutely I have been ordered to, then this isn't really renunciation or humility. So everything that can be utilized in Krishna's service is considered using everything properly, proper renunciation and humility when we're trying to do it for the offering to Guru and Krishna. And that means that we're trying to tell anyone, here is knowledge of God, here is knowledge of the soul, here is knowledge of Vrindavan, here is knowledge of Prabhupada, of Bhagavad Gita. We have so much that each one of us can point millions to. Even if we don't have our Sri Guru personally present, we know senior Vaishnavas, we know that we can give them a book, we can do something. So if our singing or our speaking or our cooking, whatever it is done in a mood of look at me, then yes, we should be wary of it. But if we can just turn that mood around and point in the direction to Guru and Krishna and utilize our bodies, our mind, our words, our voices, everything that has been given to us, use it in the service of Krishna, then it is used properly. Otherwise, if we don't use those things for Krishna, then what are we doing? We've been given them. We've been, life after life, we've come to this point, and to actually stop myself from doing some kind of seva, this could be...
It's okay.
This could be actually going against the mood of bhakti and against the mood of trying to serve. So if we stop doing it because we're becoming glorified or any of these types of things, then that should cause us to hold on tighter in humility to the feet of our Gurudev and realize, I know I'm nothing. And if they're glorifying me, then they really don't know anything either. So what is the glorification of millions of people that don't know anything? It's really dust. It's nothing. If we put everything into perspective and we try to utilize everything in the service of Krishna, this is called yukta vairagya, and this is the proper type of renunciation. Otherwise, it's like
An inverted form of pride.
an inverted form of pride, yes, but also, if you think about it, I'm not trying to get on anything about veganism or anything, but to not offer ghee or milk or something to Krishna that could be utilized to help many jivas doesn't necessarily meaning that stopping all of that is helping those jivas. But if we do it purely for the pleasure and the service of Krishna and the upliftment of those jivas, and give that away or give it to devotees, whatever. We don't even have to partake of it. We can do everything in such a way that it can uplift ourselves and others and also be considered seva. Otherwise, we're misers. We've been given these extraordinary gifts and we don't use them. Then what? I saw everyone was speaking about Jamuna Devi. And if she wasn't going and singing and utilizing her voice and becoming basically a rock star. I mean, in England, it was the #1 on the charts. Govindamadi Purusham. And to this day, when we hear that, we see the greeting of the deities. We remember the sweetness and the pride of Srila Prabhupada and his darling daughter. And this thing causes us to have hope. It causes us to want to serve. It causes us to want to sing out as darling daughters of our Guru Dev and Guru Varg. So if we can utilize that in the service, then it will be good to just completely stop everything. Then what are we doing actually? It's not seva. It's not actually trying to utilize everything in the service of Krishna. So please forgive me. I hope that isn't confronting or anyone is offended by that. I was just reading that and I was thinking, the last thing that I ever want to do is sing. I'm not being, this kind of, I'm not so da-da-da-da-da. I really don't.
She also doesn't want to go in front of the camera.
I don't prefer to sing. It's not something I've ever done. I only started doing it to make Gurudev laugh, and that's the truth. And Gurudev somehow seemed to appreciate it and then made me start singing, but I never, ever have wanted to do that, but yet I traveled around the world for 17, 18 years, whether it's sitting on stages, sitting in devotees' homes, sitting in temples, but singing for the pleasure of our Guru Varg, not because I think it's great or because I like it, but because it's seva. It's something that is offered, and whether one sounds good, whether one sounds terrible, Gurudev said, never mind if your voice isn't charming, your heart should be charming. And that is the basis of all of it, that my heart should be charming to Guru and Krishna, and automatically that charm will charm everyone else. If Krishna is pleased, if Gurudev is pleased, then everyone is pleased. So again, please forgive me if I made any offense or pinched anyone's heart. I just thought it would be nice to share that we all should use whatever we can in the service of Guru and Krishna.
That's yours?
Braj Mandal.
Who's that?
Someone from India. Okay.
You have to turn down the volume. So, actually, I know someone who was a very, very good preacher, very knowledgeable. And he was afraid to become proud of preaching, although he had been ordered by his Gurudev and his Shiksha Gurus to preach. So he was afraid to become proud of it, because he was good at it. So instead of preaching, he stayed at home. And instead of doing that seva, his idle mind became the devil's workshop. So instead of preaching, what was he doing? He was sitting at home, playing games, on the computer, doing nothing. And that was his life. So in the article, Karunayavatirna Kalo, our Srila Prabhupada, he wrote the article and it was published in many different harmonious magazines over a period of time. They would publish little bits of the article. And I recommend that reading for everyone. Perhaps Jiva Pavana Prabhu or anyone might be able to post any links for that. Karunayavatirna Kalo. And in there, Srila Prabhupada makes it very, very clearly, makes the point very clearly that unless one is actually utilizing their energy for preaching and for doing kirtan, then they will not receive the mercy of Mahaprabhu. If one thinks that I'm not qualified, so I won't do that, then you won't receive his mercy, because he has given that order, Mahaprabhu has. And the way Srila Prabhupada put it was so clear, so succinct, and so powerful. For any devotee or any preacher, it is quite essential. It's not that we should not go out and share, but I was making this point previously. If we are publicly engaged in all kinds of nonsense activities, and I'm using the word public for a reason. Sometimes, privately, someone inside your heart, maybe, anarthas may be there. And anarthas will be there for a long, long time. We cannot say that they will automatically be cleared. It doesn't just happen like this, not usually. It takes time. So if everyone had to be a pure devotee before they could do kirtan or preach or distribute books, then nothing would have happened. Srila Prabhupada could have just stayed in India and sent his books over to the West and told them to share themselves, because at that time, who was considered the pure devotee to do that? But he utilized them. Maybe at that time, unqualified or new, very fresh, but anyhow, he instructed them to do so. And by their hard work and their endeavor to serve and please their Guru, they accomplished so much, and he accomplished so much through them. So our Gurudev, our Guru Varga would talk about their Guru Varga that through so many arms, like our Gurudev would speak about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, that he accomplished so much through his many arms. That was all of his generals. Our Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti-Rakshak Sri Ramaraj, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Bhakti Jivan Janardana Maharaj, so many, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. Through all of these different generals, these are his arms, he was able to accomplish so much. And so our Srila Prabhupada had devotees. Within 1 week, they were giving classes, leading the kirtans. There wasn't any senior Vaishnava to do that around. So he was having them start. And that's the way it was. Our Gurudev said the same thing. Within 1 week, he had to start giving classes. So despite any disqualification, if our mood or our endeavor is to serve, then that can be accepted. But we should be careful not to misrepresent. This can be dangerous. What I was making the point of before was that we might have some anarthas in our own heart. We should not represent those out. And we definitely should not publicly represent negative things or things which are against Vaishnava Sadachar, things which are against Guru and Vaishnava and Krishna and Mahaprabhu, and then at the same time do the kirtan and preach while doing these nonsense activities. In other words, using the preaching for the purpose of attracting, selling it, for example, selling the kirtan, or using it to attract any partner for the night, or using it to increase one's name and fame and position and power and influence and all of these kinds of things. But if one is maybe weak but sincere and wants to serve, then they can share what they have heard. Srila Gurudev told this to Ujjabad Bhaktivedānta Padmanabha Mahārāja on a morning walk. He looked at him and said, "You cannot repay me in millions of lifetimes for what I have given you." He said, "But one thing you can do. If you meet anyone," he said, "any qualified person," means any sincere person, "then share my conceptions, my teachings with them. This you can do." So it's essential that we do share. But we should try to represent properly. Otherwise, the potency will be very, very weak, if at all. If we're not trying to practice, then Mahaprabhu says, he says one should share their own practice. That is called prachar. And practice is achar. Vaishnava sadachar means the activities or the etiquettes of a Vaishnava. And one's own practice is what they preach. This gives qualification. If one does not practice and they preach, then what is the power or benefit? However, if the instruction has been given by Guru to do so, like Gurudev told us, we said we're not qualified, we don't know anything. He said, what you know now, go and preach. What could we do? So Gurudev told Sudevi, sometimes the father likes to hear the baby say goo goo gaga. He told her, share what I told last night. She was like, but everyone came to hear you speak, Gurudev. And then he told her that sometimes the father likes to hear the baby say goo goo gaga. So if our gurgling endeavor to serve is somehow pleasing to Gurudev, then that's a success of our life, that Gurudev is pleased. If that is our endeavor, I'm doing it to please Gurudev. Like Sudevi just said, she never wanted to sing publicly. She was trying to make Gurudev laugh. She didn't tell the whole scene, but I'm going to share it. So we were in Singapore, and they put Gurudev on this big stage in this big hall, and behind him was all of these, it was spinning effulgences, and it looked like a Christmas kind of thing or Diwali thing, spinning discs and fireworks like show, all of these lights and everything, flashing lights, and he was on this big Vyasasana, and all of his kirtan singers and everyone and the sannyasis were around him, and then there was this big auditorium. But Gurudev didn't look happy up on that big stage. He likes to be with the devotees. And so he was on this massive asana, and Sudevi was quite far, but she saw Gurudev just kind of picking at his fingers and looking a little bit kind of stern. And whatever Krishnadas Prabhu was leading from the stage, Sudevi decided to repeat very loudly, just to cheer Gurudev up, or whatever, because he just looked really stern. So she was at the back of the hall practically, or halfway back, but she was singing so loud, without a microphone, Gurudev was able to hear her clearly over all of us who were in the kirtan just around him. And she was just singing so loud, and Gurudev looked over, and then he just started kind of snickering and laughing. Then he started bouncing a little and laughing a little bit more. So Sudevi started singing more and more. And one day we were in Singapore with Srila Gurudev, and I think it was Ali Mohelage Vrindavananiko. There was the bhajan being sung. And Sudevi didn't even know the words. We had never heard it before. I think we had... Did we even have it with us? No. But anyhow, Sudevi was trying to repeat it as loud as she could, and Gurudev was very close to us. And Gurudev was like, wow, so bold. You don't even know the words and still you're trying like this. And he said, I want all my daughters to be bold and strong and powerful like this. So, as Gurudev would say, to try is bhakti. To try, to make that endeavor to please. That's the point. To try for what? To try to please Gurudev. So I'll give you an example. And I know I've been giving examples, but I'm going to give another one. And Sudevi told it previously. It came time for her to sing Kalayati Nayanam, which she didn't really know. But anyhow, that was the appropriate bhajan for the moment, and we were in New Braj, in front of Gurudev and hundreds of devotees. And she was singing Kalayati Nayanam, but she was having quite a difficult time of it. But she was just focusing on Gurudev. I'm doing it for you, but she was having a hard time. And what made it even more difficult, as you all know, which we told previously, is that Manjari, the singer, who's also a painter, an expert in all arts, Madhukar's cousin, Manjari, she was singing it perfectly and beautifully and angelically just behind Sudevi. And of course, you know, it's difficult to do something when someone is so good. And so she was just making the endeavor to serve and please Gurudev, even though she felt completely unqualified to do so. But Gurudev asked her to sing. It was the appropriate bhajan for the moment, so she did her best. After the bhajan, they turned Gurudev's Vyasasan, or his seat, toward where the drama was going to be performed. And Gurudev looked over at Sudevi and just said, come here. She was really afraid that he was going to say, don't ever do that again or anything like that. Even the devotees were like, it's okay, it's okay. And so she went up, very humbled, to Gurudev's asana. And Gurudev said, your kirtan? Did he say your bhajan? Your kirtan. And she was like, yes. And very, very shamefully, she was ready to accept the chastisement. He said, if Jagannath were here, he would have reached his arms out to embrace you. That's the success of kirtan. If Sri Guru is seeing that, and that means she wasn't singing with the mood thinking, I'm really great. She was singing only with the mood, please accept this. I know I'm a failure. I know I can't do it, but I'm trying my best to serve you, to please you. Please accept it. Gurudev must have accepted it if Krishna of Jagannath would have reached his arms out to embrace her. So what is our qualification? Our only qualification is that within our heart we can have the desire to please Guru, the desire to please Gauranga, the desire to please Radha and Krishna. If we're doing it for any other reason than that, then maybe it cannot be considered bhakti. But if that endeavor, the desire is there to please, to serve, no, to please. Service is done for the purpose to please. If that is our intention, then even if we make any mistakes, they will easily be able to overlook those mistakes. Like I said before, Guru is more than millions of mothers of this world. So any mother knows. It's that easy. How many disqualifications the baby has, it doesn't matter. Only nourishment, love, affection, hope, prospect. All hope is there. And then Gurudev would add, to all of us, babies, don't be hopeless. So I just wanted to share that. And thank you for your question. Did anyone post that Karunayavatirna Kalo? Have you found it? Maybe just afterward. I always say that I will and then I forget or I have to run and do something else. Karuna Avatirna Kalo. But it has a Y in there. Karuna Yavatirna Kalo. Karuna Avatirna Kalo. Kalo. you. In this age of Kali, Karuna means mercy, and Avatirna, who is manifesting, the avatar. So this merciful avatar in the age of Kali, it is about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Kalayati Nayanam Dishi Dishi Balitam Pankajamiva Mridu Maruta Chalitam, page 342 by Sri Rai Ramananda. Vrishabhanunandini Srimati Radha Rani ki Jai. Kalayati, gonna be a little higher. Kalayati nayanam Dishi Dishi Balitam Pankajamiva Mridu Maruta Charitam Kalayati Dishi Dishi Balitam Pankajamiva Mridu Maruta Charitam Teni Vipinam Pravishati Shati Radha Pratipada Samudita Manasi Javadha Pratipada Samudita Manasi Javadha Kārtika Gajadhipamudidam Janayati Rudra Gajadhipamudidam Ramanandaraya Abhigaditam Ramanandaraya Abhigaditam Kalayati Nayanam Rishi Shivanitam Pankajamiva Mridu Parupacharitam Kalayati Nayanam Rishi Shivanitam Pankajamiva Mridu Marupacharitam Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Vrishabhananandani Shrimati Radharani ki Jai Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai. Now, page 290, Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. We're still on the last verse of Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam from Kartik, and Sudevi says, don't forget the deep. Rudra Prabhu, maybe later. All I know is that in deep anticipation and love for Krishna, she is stumbling. And when Krishna hears that stumbling, it increases his transcendental pleasure infinitely more and more. Hare Krishna. Shri Shri Radha Bino Bihari Ju ki jai, Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Shalagram Shila ki jai, Laddu Gopal Chota Chota Laddu Gopal ki jai, Shri Yashoda Damodar ki jai. I'm going to check something. 290 by Śrī Satyavrata Muni, Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. Okay. Gaudiya tune, please. Okay, I was going to experiment with something else, but Gaudiya tune it is. I was going to sing it in Malkons, which we will do Hare Krishna with that. So, Namami Sharam Namami Sharam Sachirananda Rupam Lasatkundalam Gokule Brajaman Yashodabhiyo Graiva Damodaram Bhaktivedānta Namami Sharam Sachirananda Rupam Lasatkundalam Gokule Brajaman Iti Drikshali Labhi Ananda Jantam Akhyapayantam Padiyeshito Geshu Bhaktairjitatam Una Prematastam Shatavriti Vande Namami Sharam Sachirananda Satkundalam Gokule Brajaman Param Deva Moksham Namokshavadim Va Prachanyam Brineham Vareshadapiha Idam Teva Purnatham Gopalavanam Sadame Manosyavi Rastam Kimam Namami Sharam Sachirananda Rupam Lasatkundalam Gokule Brajaman Idam Temu Bhojam Avyaktanilay Vritam Kunthalay Snigha Raktaishchagopya Muhushchumbitam Bimba Raktadharam Manasya Virastam Malam Lakshana Namamishwaram Satchidanandarupam Rasakundalam Gokule Brajamanam Namo Damodarāṣṭakam Vishnu Prasiddha Prabhu Dukha Jalabhimagam Kripadrishti Vrishtyati Dinam Batani Grihani Shamamavyam Edyakshidresha Namamishwaram Satchidanandarupam Rasatkundalam Gokule Brajamanam Kuberatmajo Badha Murtyaiva Yadva Kahyamochito Bhakti Bhajo Krito Cha Tatha Prema Bhaktin Swakame Prayacha Namokshe Graho Mesti Damodareha Namamishwaram Satchidanandarupam Rasatkundalam Gokule Brajamanam Namaste Sudhamne Suradipidhamne Tadiyodarayato Vishvasya Dhamne Namo Radhikaye Tadiyapriyaye Namo Radhikaye Tadiyapriyaye Namo Nantalilayo Devaya Tubhyam Namo Nantalilayo Devaya Tubhyam Namo Radhikaye Tadiyapriyaye 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 Namo Nantalilayo Devaya Tubhyam Namo Nantalilayo Devaya Tubhyam Damodara Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Damodara Radha Damodara Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe 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 Shri Radha Damodar Ju ki Jai Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam ki Jai Now we're going to call out, and that prayer which awakens prem in the Atma, calling out for service. O Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your service. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Shri Shrinitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol Shri Gurudev Ki Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Dandava Pranam, all Vaishnavas. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Nama Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swāminiti Namine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurung Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishna Vishnupad Ashto Tarashata Shri Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. In the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam, in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashata Shri Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada, and to all of our Gauriya Rupanuga Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe 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 Shyam.
Radhe 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 Shyam. Have you seen Devaki?
It doesn't show the comments, it's too slow.
Okay.
I just saw when it stopped.
Okay.
Is she not there?
I don't know. So we are continuing with Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. As I tell you every day, this is manifested from the heart of Śrī Satyavrata Muni in his subjective evolution of consciousness over millions of years, placed in Śrī Padma Purana by Ved Vyas. In this version, we have the commentary of Śrī Sanātana Gosvāmī Pad, followed by the translation of that commentary with the Bhav Anubad of our Param Gurudev, Śrīla Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja, followed by the commentary of our Śrīla Gurudev, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, which is full of ras and bhav. So, this is a beautiful treasure with so many different compartments, so many different hidden caverns and caves, with so much ras to extract. And before entering into this beautiful treasure and examining its contents, we will pray in the dust of the lotus feet of these divine personalities, in the words of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Vairāga Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatnair Apayanam Mam Anubhipshamandam Kripambarirya Paradukuduki Sanatanastam Prabhum Ashrayami, begging in the dust of their lotus feet that may even a particle of their moods which are present within these pages manifest itself within our hearts. Now we are on the 8th and final verse of Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. Namaste Studamne Spuradipti Damne Tvadiyadorayato Vishwasya Dhamne Namo Radhikāyai Tvadiyapriyāyai Namo Radhikāyai Tvadiyapriyāyai Namo Nantalilayo Devaya Tubhyam Namo Nanta Nilayo Devaya Tubhyam. So yesterday we were hearing how Śrī Satyavrata Muni is praying to the rope. That rope is no ordinary rope. It is in essence the manifestation of the love of Mother Yashoda, which is able to bind the otherwise unbound. What can conquer the unconquerable? Only prem. Do you know that verse from Bhagavatam? Stani stuta shuddhagatam tanuban manobhir ye pyayaso jita jitais pyasitais trilokyam. Jnane prayasam utapasya namantameva jivanti sanmukaritam bhavadiya varta. So that verse from Śrīmad Bhagavatam is saying that only those who have completely surrendered in love and affection to Krishna can bind him. He who is otherwise unconquerable can be conquered. I believe that's the one. So yesterday we were speaking about how everything in Vrindavan, in transcendental Vrindavan, is conscious. And conscious of what? Well, everything's nature is to love and serve Krishna. So it is conscious of its loving and serving nature to Krishna. And so Śrī Satyavrata Muni is offering his pranam to that form of concentrated transcendental bliss, that rope itself, which is able to bind Krishna. Of course he's going to pray to that rope, because he also wants to bind Krishna. So Srila Gurudev would always explain, Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, that only someone who has something can give that thing to you, can awaken that in you. If they don't have it, then they can only give you up to what they possess. So that rope itself was able to bind Krishna. So it is appropriate that Satyavrata Muni is praying to that rope for mercy, because if that rope has the capacity to bind Krishna, then it can also give me that blessing, that I can also bind Krishna by my love and affection. So Satyavrata Muni is praying to this rope. So here, furthermore, it is impossible to bind the all-pervading, unlimited Lord, but he allowed himself to be bound, thereby displaying his bhakta vatsalya, or his exceptional affection for his devotees. Previously, we heard that there are two things going on simultaneously. Krishna, by his nature, is sarvagya, all-knowing, and also in Vrindavan, mugdhata, not knowing, forgetful, by the love of his devotees. But one is not removed by the other. So Krishna has the capacity to somehow digest both simultaneously. All-knowingness and not-knowingness. In other words, he can make the impossible possible. For us, we're either knowing or not knowing. But for us, it's how do you reconcile not knowing and knowing at the same time? But Krishna is sarvagya. So from one perspective, he is allowing himself to be bound. Allowing himself to be bound would mean that this is in knowledge. The Supreme Majesty is accepting and consenting and allowing himself, okay, I will let you bind me. But from the other perspective, there's the tattva perspective, but then from the rasa perspective, what do we know? Krishna is actually afraid of his mother's stick. He's actually really weeping and crying. Real tears are pouring from his eyes like Ganga and Jamuna. He's really rubbing his eyes and his kajal is smearing all over like a raccoon. He's weeping, he's begging his mother, don't hit me. That person whom death personified is afraid of. And the sun and the moon move simply by the slight movement of his eyebrows. They move on course in time. He is afraid of the stick of Mother Yashoda. And from one perspective, she's binding him because she's his mother. And he's been naughty. And from the other perspective, he is allowing her to bind him. So from the Rasik perspective, it would be difficult to see it from the position of Godhead, because from their perspective, they don't see Krishna as God. So Mother Yashoda is not looking at him thinking, oh my God. She's thinking Nārāyaṇa is God. She's saying, oh my God, help me to bind my son. I swear that I will not give up, even if it takes my entire life. She's vowing to Nārāyaṇa, but not to Krishna. So she's not seeing that he is God and he's giving his mercy, and therefore she's able to bind him. She's making a firm vow and resolution to Śrīman Nārāyaṇa, God in Vaikuntha. But even if it takes my whole life, I will not stop until I bind my son, Krishna. So her love is so great, she does not recognize the Godhood or the Aishvaryata of Krishna. All she knows is that he's her son and she loves him more than anything. So, referring again to Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, the first purport that Srila Prabhupada gave on that, he said in Vrindavan, the Brajavasis do not know that Krishna is God. He may be some demigod or any powerful yogi from their perspective. They see him doing things like killing demons. All they know is that they love him. This is their mood. All they know is that they love him. They're not concerned with whether he is God or not. All others in every other sphere and every other consideration, they have the idea of God. But Brajavasis, they worship Nārāyaṇa, Narasingha Shalagram. Why are Nanda and Yashoda worshipping Narasingha Shalagram? Because he protects children. So they're worshipping the God of protecting children. In other words, their whole focus is love and affection for Krishna. But they're not thinking he's God. They're thinking Shalagram is God, and God protect my son. Like that. So many demons are coming. Let us worship Narasinghadev. He protected Prahlad. He will protect our son as well. So the different perspectives are there. And Krishna himself, sometimes you see, like in Brahma Vimohan Lila, when Brahma stole the calves and the cowherd boys. And then Krishna manifested himself as all of these calves and cowherd boys. Actually, there were 3 sets, believe it or not. Brahma could not steal the original set. So, because they are Krishna's own internal manifestations, how can Brahma take them? So, he took a Maya version, or Chaya, a shadow version of them. The originals, where would they be? Within Krishna. And of course, then Krishna himself manifested all of these cowherd boys and calves. You know who didn't know? Baladev Prabhu. For a whole year. Baladev, his first expansion, who is all-knowing and who is non-different from himself, didn't know because Krishna wanted to keep it a secret. So in that sense, you understand that Krishna is aware. And Baladev Prabhu was not aware by Krishna's own internal potency. But Krishna can also become not aware due to his own internal potency. When Srimati Radhika is in Man, Krishna forgets everything else and is just chasing after her, begging for her mercy. Please don't neglect me. Smaragala kandanam mamashira shimandanam dehi parapalavamudaram. He's begging. In June of 2000 in Alachua, Srila Gurudev was there for a festival. And at that time, I think it was Shamarani Didi was paraphrasing a question for another devotee about who is more all-knowing, Krishna or Gurudev. Sarvagya was the word, all-knowing. And Gurudev just started laughing. And he said, Krishna in Vrindavan is too busy playing with his friends and his gopis and his mother and like that. He's too busy to think or know about all of these things. But it is the function of Guru to be all-knowing. Paramatma is stepping outside in the form of Diksha and Shiksha Gurus. So Paramatma is the supreme witness who is all-knowing, and it is their function to know, to see, and to discriminate for our benefit for our forward spiritual progress. He said Krishna is too busy playing in Vrindavan to think about all of the little things that are going on in this world. Whose prayers does Krishna hear? Sar anga sharanagati hoibe jahar tahara prarthana shune Śrī Nanda Kumar. He hears the prayers of those persons who are surrendered, following the sixfold process of sharanagati. Krishna directly, that Krishna, in Vrindavan, Śrī Nanda Kumar, the son of Nanda Mahārāja, will hear that prayer and will make any arrangement to help us. Please forgive me, I'm not exactly sure where the other set, but there were 3 sets. One, Brahma took. That could not be the original set. Another one, Krishna himself manifested as. And I don't know where the other set exactly went. I just remember something of that. Do you remember, Sudevi?
No.
Yeah. We'll discuss that at another time. It's part of Brahma Vimohan Lila. Who is more all-knowing, more sarvagya, Guru or Krishna? And Gurudev said that in actuality, Guru, for us, is more sarvagya than Krishna in Vrindavan. That doesn't mean Krishna in Vaikuntha or Krishna in Dwarka or Krishna in any of his manifestations as the all-knowing supreme Bhagavan. But in Vrindavan, he's too busy playing. Think about it like a very, 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 very wealthy person. He puts so many people in charge of his companies, making him his money, and he goes off on vacation. And what does he do on vacation? He hangs out on the beach, drinks his favorite juices, goes swimming, plays golf, goes on his boat, does all of his favorite pastime things, and he doesn't even need to think or worry about all of these other things. Every once in a while a phone call will come in and he'll deal with it and go back to his fun. Vrindavan is Krishna's, in essence, vacation from all of the rest of that, and it is eternal. It is where he has let everything else go and he's completely absorbed in doing what he loves to do most, which is playing with his cows and his calves and his friends and his parents and all of the elderly gopis and gopis and the deer and the Yamuna River and Govardhan, and especially his gopis and Srimati Radhika. He's completely absorbed in the bliss of all of these pastimes, all of these madhur, very sweet pastimes of Braj, which are full of love and affection, prem, which is so powerful that it even controls and captures Krishna himself. So here, it's saying he displayed his bhaktavatsalya. No, he allowed himself to be bound and gave his mercy, displaying his bhaktavatsalya, or his exceptional affection for his devotees. By logic, it cannot be understood how all of the unlimited universes are encompassed within Sri Krishna's belly. Yet even this wonderful belly of his was bound. If Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the manifestation of the manifestation, we started this day by this. Krishna, Balaram, Mool Sankarshan. Where's Mool Sankarshan? Mathura, Dwarka. And there's the first Chaturvyuha there. Then Mahasankarshan in Vaikuntha, and the second Chaturvyuha is there. That's Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradumna, Aniruddha. From there manifests Karunadakshaya Vishnu. From there manifests Garbhodakshaya Vishnu inside of each universe. From Garbhodakshaya Vishnu's navel manifests the lotus flower, and Lord Brahma is manifest. But it is said that also within that stem of that lotus flower are thousands and millions of Brahmandas, universes. So, theoretically, logically, if that is manifesting from his stomach, well, it is coming from the original, the origin of all. Advaigyan Tattva, the supreme, non-dual, absolute truth, is none other than the son of Nanda Mahārāja, Krishna in Vrindavan. Krishner Swarup Vichar Shuno Sanatan Advaigyan Tattva Braje Brajendra Nandan. And from him, everything else is manifesting. He is the prime cause of all other causes. Anyone who knows the Sanskrit term for that the prime cause of all other causes, will definitely get... Ooh. Mango season is starting. Mango milkshake. There you go. Or a lassi. Thus the sage oh, very good. Chandrika Devidasi ki jai sarva karana karanam. He is the prime cause of all secondary causes. So, thus the sage implies here that by allowing himself to be bound, Krishna, and thereby allowing all of the universes to be bound, a pastime completely beyond all logical considerations, Sri Bhagavan displayed his unparalleled opulence and grandeur, Aishvarya. So from one perspective, from the perspective of one who sees Krishna as God, they will see the Aishvarya in that pastime. It is quite amazingly full of Aishvarya. We should understand that it is not that Aishvarya is not present in Vrindavan. It is more present in Vrindavan than anywhere else. And I'm going to paraphrase, requote Gurudev again. Gurudev said there's more Aishvarya in a single particle of dust of Braj than in all of the Vaikuntha planets combined. In a single particle of dust. And more Aishvarya in a single particle of dust at Radhakund than in all of Vrindavan combined. That's inconceivable, really. What's the word they used here? Beyond all logical considerations. And yet, the madhurata, the sweetness of Braj is so great that Aishvarya is like a particle of dust in the ocean, completely drowned and submerged. Sometimes the example is given of 40 manas, I guess a mana is a liter, I don't know, 40 manas of milk that is boiling. And there's one blade of grass, one straw in that milk. And as it's boiling, that straw is sometimes coming up to the surface and poking its head out, and then it dives right in, and it remains underneath for quite some time. So every once in a while, the Brijabasis see something. Whoa, Krishna killed Tiranavarta. Sweetness covering everything. They can't even see the Aishwarya. They don't realize it's there. Then Putana, Shakatasura, one demon after another. He lifted Govardhan Hill. Oh my God, maybe he's God. It dives back in. Then they remember. Then they tell Nanda Baba, we think he might be God. And then Nanda Baba is like, you haven't even got your milk teeth yet. What are you thinking? Does God dance for laddus? Does God pinch babies and make them cry? Does he break pots when he doesn't get what he wants? You can think whatever you want, but as far as I'm concerned, he's my son. And it's my duty to discipline him. So they're like, yeah, you're right. What were we thinking? And then completely submerged again. Every once in a while, it pops up to the surface, but it is so covered by sweetness that they can't even hold on to the idea. When Mother Yashoda sees inside Krishna's mouth, when he opens his mouth, because he was eating dirt, she saw the entire cosmic manifestation, millions of universes. Then she saw our galaxy. Then she saw our planet, this earth planet. Then she saw Bharatvarsh. Then she saw Vrindavan. Then she saw herself looking into his mouth. And she was thinking, I'm dizzy. What am I seeing here? Perhaps some ghost, some negative energy is disturbing my son. Hare Krishna.
What was that?
Just a photo.
What photo? Your hands moving? Was it your hands?
No. I just backed up a little bit.
Okay.
So, Mother Yashoda, the prop wants to be seen. Mother Yashoda was looking into his mouth. And she thought maybe some ghost has possessed my son. And so, instead of thinking he's God, where the sages are looking at the same pastime thinking, wow, aho bhagyam, how fortunate, aho bhagyam, how fortunate. Are Yashoda and Nanda Baba, Nanda Gopa, Vrajokasam, Yad Mitram Paramanandam. The supreme absolute truth, Purnam Brahma Sanatana, the supreme eternal personality, has become like a little child playing in the courtyard of Nanda Baba, like their own friend and family member. So those with Aishwarya Bhava are looking at it from that perspective, and those who are in it, in Prem, Braja Prem, are looking at it from a completely different perspective. Yan Mitram Paramanandam, Purna Brahma Sanatana, they don't see that like that. They're just thinking, he's our dearmost beloved. So from the perspective of those with Aishwarya Gyan, they're seeing that Bhagavan is displaying his unparalleled opulence and grandeur, his Aishwarya. Also, our Guru Varga, although they are there serving inside that, but when they take the form of Guru, then they're also able to see from all different perspectives. That's how we can reconcile that our Guru Devs are able to even speak on this subject. How is it that someone like Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, who we accept and know to be a maidservant of Srimati Radhika in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan serving Radha and Krishna, completely submerged in rasa and prem, can be translating and writing this? Because in the form of Guru, they're manifesting the Tattva Siddhanta as well. So they can see from all different perspectives. But in that form, they're not seeing from that perspective. They see God is Nārayaṇ, God is Ram, God is Narasingha, God is Vamandev, but Krishna is our dearmost beloved. You know, when Mother Yashoda puts Krishna to bed at night, she tells him stories. What stories does she tell? The pastimes of God. So she's telling him Ram Leela. And at a certain point, when Ravan kidnaps Sita, Krishna jumps up and he's like, Lakshman, bring me my bow. He gets really excited. And he gets into that mood, that bhav. Mother Yashoda is telling the pastimes of Bhagavan to Krishna. But she doesn't realize or understand or think for even a moment that he is God. After the sage offers obeisance to the rope, he next offers obeisance to the Lord's belly, thus implying that the rope is resting there. Also, it is implied that he is offering obeisance in order of increasing superiority. We also do that. In a sense, when we do our sequence, we pray to our Gurudev first, we go up the line, right? Jai Shri Guru, Gauranga, Gandharvika Giridhari, like that, Radha Vino Bihari. Vandeham Shri Guru, Shri Yuta Padakamalam, Shri Gurun Vaishnavangshtha, Shri Rupam Sagrajatam, Sahagana Raghunatam Vitang Tangstajivam, Shadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitangscha. So, in essence, we are praying in increasing superiority. At this point, the sage understands that only by the mercy of Sri Bhagavan's loved ones can he attain his cherished goal, and that which he cannot even conceive of. Only by the mercy of Bhagavan's loved ones can he attain his cherished goal, and that which he cannot even conceive of. So not just Bhagavan himself, but his loved ones. With this understanding, he offers obeisance to Sri Bhagavan's most beloved, Bhagavati Srimati Radhika by the words Namo Radhikaye. Vrishabhananandini Srimati Radha Rani Ki Jai. In fact, by offering obeisance to Śrī Radhika, the sage actually conveys his obeisance to all of the gopis. How is this possible? In the same way that when Krishna played his flute from Banshibat, he was only simply calling out Radhe, Radhe. I need you. I'm desperate. Without you, I cannot maintain my life. But because all of the gopis are manifestations of her own moods, of her own form, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavita Birya Eva Ninja Rupataya Kalabhi, they all heard their own names because they're manifestations of her. And therefore, all of them, hearing their own names, stopped whatever else they were doing and ran, because it was an emergency, ran to go serve Krishna. So here when Satyavrata Muni is saying Namo Radhikaye, the sage is actually conveying his obeisance to all of the gopis. Or a different understanding is that the sage is offering his pranam to Srimati Radhika alone because he regards her as the foremost of all of the gopis. And of course we know that as well. She is Sarva Lakshmi Mayi, means all of the Lakshmi, she is the topmost. Sarvakanti Shiromani, the crest jewel of all of Krishna's beloveds. She is the Purna Shakti, Radha Purna Shakti, the complete Shakti. So she is the topmost or the foremost of all of the gopis, and all of our Shastras have proven that, especially Anaya Radhito Nunam, Bhagavan Harir Ishvara Yanno Vihaya Govinda Prito Yam Anayadraha. In that verse, all of the gopis, the ones who knew whose footprints those were, they didn't say anything. It was the gopis who didn't know. They were saying, whoever's footprints these are, this is certainly the most fortunate of all of the gopis. That one. And those who know that that person who's being referred to there, whose footprints they are, that is none other than Vrishabhananandini Srimati Radhika. Śrīla Sanātana Gosvāmī now sheds light on why the sage uses the word Radhika. Śrī Radha is constantly immersed in Śrī Bhagavan's worship, Aradhana. That is, she is forever wrapped in arousing his pleasure. It is through this word alone, Aradhana. You know, in Sanskrit, when you're worshipping, when you're doing worship, it is called Aradhana. It is through this word alone that one can understand the profound meaning of Śrī Radhika's name. Every particle of her being is made of loving service to Krishna. She is the predominating deity of Hladini Shakti. Means she is the personification of that pleasure-giving potency. She is the medium, Srila Prabhupada says, by which one's love and affection is transmitted to Krishna, because she is the love potency itself. So from that perspective, then you can understand who is giving Krishna happiness, who is giving Krishna pleasure, what is favorable for him. She is the embodiment of the purest conception of devotion and love. In fact, and this is a very interesting one, and I've read it, I've heard it directly from the mouth of our Srila Gurudev when we were in Fiji at Kanti Punja's house, and also I've read it from Srila Prabhupada in his purports. In 10th canto, before Brahma Vimohan Lila, which is when he stopped physically doing the verse-by-verse translation. So both of them have said it, and I'll just tell what Prabhupada said in the words of our Gurudev. Mother Yashoda is the embodiment of Srimati Radhika's Vatsalya Prem for Krishna. Mother Yashoda is the embodiment or the condensed form of Srimati Radhika's Vatsalya Prem, Mrs. Parental love and affection for Krishna. Within Madhurya Ras, all other rasas are present in their maximum extent. Vatsalya, Sakya, Dasya, all are present in their maximum extent. Within Vatsalya, Sakya, Dasya are present within their maximum extent. So within Srimati Radhika, the maximum extent of all rasas are present. Mother Yashoda is the embodiment of Srimati Radhika's Vatsalya Prem for Krishna. It's something to contemplate. So she's actually serving in every way, in every single capacity. She is the Purna Shakti. All other Shaktis, whose function is to serve Shaktiman, this is the function of Shakti. Look at Shakti like your eyes and your ears and your sense of smell. The sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. This is like the potency of us. What is the function of our sight and our smell and our hearing capacity and our touching capacity and tasting? It is for us. Right? It is all to help us. Just from this perspective. It's really all for Krishna, but I'm just trying to give an idea. So, from Shaktiman, all Shakti manifests. But what is the function, what is the purpose of Shakti? It is only for the pleasure, for the happiness, for the benefit of the Shaktiman. So in essence, that is what and who she is. And she expands herself unlimitedly to serve Krishna's unlimited capacity to experience or taste rasa, pleasure, happiness. Unlimitedly. Bahu kanta bina nahe rasera ulas. Without so many kantas, beloveds, ras cannot reach to its highest peak. So she manifests herself like this for Krishna's happiness and pleasure. Therefore the sage says to Shri Krishna, Shri Radhika is Tvadiya Priyaya, your most beloved. This is really the trick. He's definitely trying to get Krishna's attention by mentioning the name of his most beloved, and then just in case, he's also saying, this is your most beloved. Like we say in that prayer, Shyama Sundar Shikanda Shekara, Smerahasa Munali Manohara. That's all about Krishna. Now we're saying, Radhika Rasikamang Kripanidhe Svapriya. Radhika, your Priya, your dearmost. Charana Kinkarinkuru. Give me service. Kinkari, what to do at her lotus feet. So also that prayer is there saying his dearmost, Srimati Radhika, and Svapriya, your dearest. And here Satyavrata Muni is saying the same thing. Namo Radhikaye, Radhika, Tvadiya, your Priya, your dearmost. So he's also utilizing this same technique. Alternatively, Radhika can be understood by its conventional sense without any consideration of etymology. Etymology means the history or the breakdown of words. In that case, it is understood that the sage says, even without considering her worship of you, her aradhana, she is simply your nitya priya, your eternal beloved. Furthermore, the sage says, due to the love that all of your devotees, Tvadiya, have for you, they are very dear to her. So what can be said about how dear you must be to her? In other words, you are her Nitya Priya, or her eternal beloved. So Devi, did you know that this term eternal beloved was here in verse 8 of Damodarasṭakam?
No.
We didn't know that when we made that CD called Eternal Beloved. So in other words, you are her Nitya Priya, or eternal beloved. In this way, the sage is proclaiming Srimati Radhika's exceptional love for Shri Krishna. Yes? We will continue tomorrow. Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna सचिनंदन गौर हरि की जय, राधा विनोद बिहारी जी की जय, राधा रमण जी की जय, गिरिराज महाराज की जय, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि Happy darshan. Thank you all very much for being with us today and giving us so much inspiration and the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga. Also, we'd like to express our indebtedness to each and every one of you for daily giving us the opportunity to follow the order of our Gurudev, which is our life and soul. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam, dear Vaishnavas.
Radhe,
Radhe, Radhe.
What?
I just want to say that this is one of their original outfits from many, many moons ago. And because they're wearing their colors, she's wearing the red and the blue, and Mahaprabhu and Krishna in golden. I had this on them one time, and after Gurudev did Arti, Gurudev turned and just said, "Thank you."
When he did Arti to them?
Yes.
And he turned and looked at you and said, "Thank you."
Yes.
Wow.
So this outfit just reminds me of Gurudev. So just thought you should know that.
Okay, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Chiviriyamadamani.
Hasta mañana. Kal milenge. Radhe Radhe.